So typically when you're first learning how to solo, you'll be stuck going up and down the pentatonic box over some sort of blues progression. And if you really like blues, this can be pretty fun, but I believe there's a better way to learn improvisation that'll have both beginner and intermediate players playing much more expressive solos. And if you want to play genres like worship, rock, country, pop, indie, alternative, or any other genre like that, then you're gonna want to learn this. So in this video, I'll be showing you my 4-step method for improvising a solo over pretty much any song. By the way, today is the official launch of Soloing Made Simple, my step-by-step course on improvising and writing melodic solos. And if you end up liking this video, I think you'll really like the course. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's get into the lesson and I'll tell you more about the course towards the end of the video. I want to keep the setup for all of this really quick because you don't need to know much to actually start soloing. All we have to do is learn a simple major scale shape. So the one we're going to learn is right here. We'll be starting on the 5th fret of our G string here. Now, whichever note we start and end this scale on is the name of the scale. So these are C notes, making this a C major scale. If you move this up to this position, then you're playing a D major scale because these are D notes. It can be really helpful to know the note names on either the G or E string here to position it more quickly. Okay, so we know our little shape. How do we use it? Well, every song is in a key, which is basically the thread that ties everything in a song together. And every key is based on a major scale. So if a song is in the key of C major, then all the notes in the C major scale will sound great played over that song. The same can be said for any other key as well. If a song was in the key of D major, then the D major scale would also sound great. So I'm going to pull up a track that I made here that's in the key of C major and show you what I mean. Okay, so this track is in the key of C major. This entire chord progression in the key of C major. So if I play my C major scale over top of this, you can hear every note sounds like it fits. If I were to play this same scale shape in a different position, let's say all the way up here on the 9th fret, you can hear how that does not fit at all. And that would be the case for every other position. But in this position, because we're in the same key, every note sounds good over all the chords. Okay, so now we get into our 4-step system. Step 1, we basically already done, which is simply to play up and down the scale over the track, getting the hang of how it sounds and feels. Step 2 involves something called chord tones. Now, the track we just played over is cycling through 4 chords inside the key of C major. It goes from A minor to C major to F major to G major. And if I bring up my C major scale and look at all the individual notes in the scale, I can see we've got an A note, a C note, an F note, and a G note. These are the root notes of each of these chords. So what we're gonna do is play these individual notes over their corresponding chord in the track. Okay, starting on the A here. Next we've got C. We've got 2 spots we can play it, so either one is fine, then F, and then G. And we're just gonna cycle through this a few times here. This might take you some time to get the hang of, so if you have to go through the whole track just working on this, that's perfectly fine. Do it one more time here. And this time I'm gonna use the other C here because it totally doesn't matter which one I use. So A, here comes C, and F, and end it on G here. Next is step 3, and this is where you're going to actually start improvising. So what we're gonna do is add a random note from the scale in between each chord tone. This can be a little tricky, so take your time with this step. Okay, chord tones first. So we're just doing step 2 just for the first pass here. G. Okay, now we're gonna add one random note in between, as long as it's from the scale. A, random. F, random, G, random, and again. Using the other C there. And you can place those notes wherever you want. They don't have to be exactly in the same spot every time. Congratulations, you just improvised. And we're not even at step 4 yet. Now, the problem with step 3 is that things are a little too rigid and restrictive. So for step 4, it's all about freedom. Play any notes you want from the scale over any chord, and occasionally try and hit a chord tone or two. When you do it is totally up to you. Experiment with how each note sounds a little different over each chord. Try varying the speed, skipping over notes, or changing the order to create a melody. Okay, do chord tones first. Random note. So basically just step 3. Okay, now I'm gonna let loose, and sometimes I'll hit chord tones, sometimes I won't. And that's really all there is to it. You can take this method and apply it to any song you want. Just line the scale up with the key of the song and look up the chords. In most cases, the root notes of those chords will exist inside your major scale shape. Now you can totally stick to this little scale shape while you're learning, but I want to show you how to expand this shape a bit as well once you're ready. So one cool thing we can do here is slap the standard pentatonic box right over this shape. Even though you might know it as an A minor pentatonic shape, the notes all fit into the key of C major because C major and A minor are relative keys. Don't worry too much about the theory. I promise it all works because you can just look at the notes that you get. You can see that all of them are from the C major scale. A, C, D, E, and G. And because the pentatonic scale is just a major scale with the 4th and 7th notes removed, we can actually return those notes to the scale to get a full major scale covering this entire position. So let's put the missing B and F notes back in here. And just so you can still see that pentatonic scale there. Boom, we've got this master shape that I like to call the home bass, which gives you new places to play your chord tones as well as play random notes from because they're all from the key of C major. And I can move this home bass anywhere I want on the fretboard to improvise with in any key. Slide this up 4 frets, and now I've got every single note in the key of E major / C sharp minor. This is always my go-to starting point for soloing in every key, and everything just builds and expands outwards from there. This method is the cornerstone of improvising and writing great guitar solos. And as you get the basics down, you can continue to expand and cover the entire fretboard, play more interesting chord tones with caged and triad shapes that live inside the home bass, and incorporate cool techniques like double stops, bends, and slides into your solos. And this is exactly what I teach in Soloing Made Simple. It's 3 hours of step-by-step video lessons dedicated entirely to transforming you into a great soloer no matter where you're at today. There's even a whole album's worth of tracks you'll learn to solo along to as you move through the course. So I'll put a link at the top of the description and in a pinned comment if you want to check it out. And if you happen to be watching this during Black Friday weekend, you can enter the code BLACKFRIDAY at checkout to get 20% off. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.